Hi friends, this is FirearmPop, and I have a little something I'd like to read to you today in remembrance of 4th of July. I'd like to share with you excerpts of an essay Ronald Reagan wrote entitled, "What the 4th of July Means to Me." One quote, for one who was born and grew up in the small towns of the Midwest, there is a special kind of nostalgia about the 4th of July. I remember it as a day almost as long anticipated as Christmas. Somewhere, end quote. Quote, somewhere in our growing up, we began to be aware of the meaning of the days that with the awareness came the birth of patriotism. July 4th is the birthday of our nation. I believe as a boy, and believe even more today, that it is the birthday of the greatest nation on earth, end quote. Quote, what manner of men were gathered in Philadelphia in 1776? 24 were lawyers and jurists, 11 were merchants and tradesmen, and 9 were farmers. They were soft-spoken men of means and education, and were not an unwashed rabble. They had achieved a security, but valued freedom even more. Their stories have been told nearly enough. John Hart was driven from the side of his desperately ill wife. For more than a year he lived in the forest and in caves before he returned to find his wife dead. His children vanished, his property destroyed. He died of exhaustion and of a broken heart. End quote. Quote, Carter Braxton of Virginia lost all his ships, sold his home to pay his debts, and died in rags. Thomas Nelson personally urged Washington to fire on his home and destroy it when it became the headquarters for General Cornwallis. Nelson died bankrupt. Quote, when they sired a nation that grew from sea to shining sea. In recent years, however, I've come to think of that day as more than just the birthday of a nation. It also commemorates the only true psychological revolution in all history. Quote, oh, there must have been revolutions before and since ours, but those revolutions simply exchanged one set of rules for another. Ours was a revolution that changed the very concept of government. Let the 4th of July always be a reminder that here in this land, for the first time, it was decided that man is born with certain God-given rights, and that government is only a convenience created and managed by the people, with no powers of its own except those voluntarily granted to it by the people. We sometimes forget that great truth, and we never should. President Reagan's words are especially poignant this 4th of July and should encourage us all in the days and weeks ahead. Let us rededicate ourselves to the vision of our founding fathers so that our nation may experience a new birth of freedom on November 6th, 2012. Thank you. Happy 4th of July.